The Iron Game Chalk Talk podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors: EliteForm.com, IgnitionAPG.com, PlayUSA at PLAEUSA.com, and Sorinex Exercise Equipment at Sorinex.com. And now, the Iron Game Chalk Talk podcast. Welcome to Iron Game Chalk Talk with your host, Ron McKeefery.
Every time our athletes walk into this weight room, they're going to be pushed to the max.
Let's go! Everything you got!
On this podcast, hear Coach McKeefery's straight talk about training, featuring the top strength and conditioning professionals from around the world. And now, here's your host, Ron McKeefery.
Hey guys, welcome back to Iron Game Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Ron McKeefery, and this is episode number 101. Iron Game Chalk Talk is a weekly podcast where I bring you experts in the field to talk shop. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, or go to my mailing list at ronmckeefery.com to stay up to date with the latest guests and anything else I have going on. This week I have Scott Caulfield with us. Scott is the head strength coach, continuing education manager at the NSCA, and if you've gone to one of the NSCA events in the last couple of years, they have been noticeably different, and Scott is the guy behind the scenes that's making that happen, along with a lot of other people out there, but has done a fantastic job of making it, a great strength and conditioning coach event, and I've really been impressed with his efforts over the years, and so we get into a lot of things. We get into what his day-to-day operations are out there, some initiatives of the NSCA, just some recommendations to young coaches about networking at conferences and things along those lines. So there's a ton in this episode. Before we get started, we want to make sure we recognize all of our sponsors: Ignition APG, PlayUSA, and EliteForm.com, as well as obviously Sorinex. Just got the word about a week ago or two that I'm going to be able to get to Summer Strong this summer, and it's been something that I've been trying to get to for the last couple of years, and just has really become a fantastic event each and every year. Every year I'm kicking myself because I'm not able to have gone because of a football camp or a recruiting event or something along those lines. But this year wanted to make sure I made it happen. Really excited about the speakers, many of which have been on Iron Game Chalk Talk. Even one is a former intern, which I think is fantastic. And so really, really excited about that. If you've not gone and signed up for Summer Strong, go to summerstrongexpo.com and register. And myself, I know Joe Kinn's going, Donnell Boucher's going, just a ton. Jeff Nichols is going to be there. Ton of great strength coaches going to be there, not just speaking, but just running around. And can't say enough about what Bert and Richard and the rest of the Sorinex gang has put on over the years. So make sure to check that out. Also, before we get started, I want to make sure everybody's aware of Strength-on-Demand. Strength-on-Demand is a online archive of strength and conditioning clinic presentations, and so each year I try to gather as many different presentations as I can from various conferences, reach out, be able to put them on one central location where you're able to log in anywhere you have a Wi-Fi connection and be able to access content. And this is, I try to create things that I want. And so this was something that I was looking for, just a central location whenever I have, a bus ride or a plane flight or a free weekend or something, and I want to get better. I throw one of these presentations on, and it's just been a great tool for not only myself, my staff, but a lot of the people that have signed up have really raved about it. And so make sure you check out strength-ondemand.com for that product of ours. Lots of stuff in this episode. Sit back and enjoy. Take lots of notes, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, welcome back. Got a friend of mine, Scott Caulfield, with the NSCA with us. Scott, obviously you guys recognize Scott from all the work that he's doing with the conferences and everything with the NSCA, but he's done a fantastic job, and wanted to get him on the show just to talk about some of the things that are going on out there and then his journey. So, Scott, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks a lot, Coach. great to be here. Appreciate it.
Scott, kind of go into that, man. How did you end up out there at the NSCA, and kind of what got you in the field in the first place?
Yeah, I started like a lot of other coaches. I didn't really know for a while. I've heard Mike Boyle talk about his story a lot. I kind of went along a similar path. I really went to college, didn't know what I was going to do. I went into the military. I was in the Navy for 4 years, kind of came back out, got my degree in physical education, more exercise science related, because I didn't want to be a PE teacher at that point. And I really started working the commercial fitness side, the private sports performance side, until I really realized that training athletes could be a full-time job. Once I did that, I was lucky enough. I was at a place in New Hampshire called the River Valley Club, which is a sports performance center. Really great people, really great place, right next to Dartmouth College. And I started volunteering with the football team. So Bob Miller, who's the director of Olympic sports there, and Caitlin Sweeney, who was in charge of football. She's now at Notre Dame. But, they took me on as a volunteer. I volunteered for an entire year with them, until I stuck around long enough that they kind of saw that I was, a good guy to kind of run the program and knew what I was doing. And then, kind of built from there. After that, they gave me men's and women's swimming. I'd been working with the rugby team as well that time. And then an opportunity arose to do some more speaking kind of on the state level. So I did some of that. Got involved with the NSCA in Vermont, which, again, was kind of right on the border in New Hampshire, so I lived down that way, crossed back and forth. And a guy named Paul Goodman, who was at the University of Vermont, him and I hit it off. We trained together. He was a great strength coach there for a number of years. He went on to work with the Chicago Blackhawks, and he's still there. And I took over, applied for the NSCA State Director and took over as that. And from that, I kind of got onto a committee or two, and just, I'd always gone to the national conference because that was kind of the one that worked into my schedule the best. Met people, did the networking thing, just tried to hang around people after the thing was over and, get some food and drinks and hang out, and just kept networking and really just, had been out to the NSCA headquarters for a clinic in 2008, I think it was, and I was like, wow, this place is really a neat place. They did a cool hands-on lecture, 2-day kind of clinic. Met again a lot of real NSCA coaches that I really looked up to, and people who just volunteered with the NSCA, didn't necessarily work here. And then, Colorado Springs is a pretty cool place to live. So
yep.
This is an amazing city. And then just one thing led to another. I told them, hey, listen, you guys ever have something pop up out here, I'd definitely be interested. And a few months later, the job popped up and I applied for it. And then I came out here. And since then, I've been promoted a couple times, and my job has changed a lot. But it's been a really neat evolution and kind of career path so far.
No, that's great, man. And talk a little bit about those day-to-day responsibilities, because you're doing everything from coaching teams and things on the floor, but then you're going around the world and speaking and putting on conferences and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, it's a unique position. And I credit John Jost, who was a board member, and he was at Florida State, a lot with how my job has evolved into a lot more of the big picture coaching stuff. Coach Jost and Boyd Epley too. Coach Epley too has been a tremendous mentor for me, and as you know, most people know that are listening that he's moved back on to the University of Nebraska. But those guys, I think, kind of saw this position as we do have a facility. We have a 6,000 square foot facility. We train athletes. But again, the NSCA's main mission is training coaches. So really, I'm the head strength coach for Colorado College Hockey. I supervise our coaches and interns here. But more of it is related to the bigger picture stuff, like the conferences, what content should we have, how do we contact more people to help develop the career guides and the webinars, and the articles through the NSCA coach, all those types of things. But, the facility is cool because I tell our interns, we have 3 paid intern positions every semester. They're going to have an experience here they probably won't get in a whole lot of other places. So you've got Division I Colorado College Hockey. We have a big tactical program. So our 2 CSAC program. The Colorado Springs SWAT team trained with us, the bomb squad, a number of regular police officers. So there's a whole new police officer fitness standard in Colorado Springs. We're working with them to help them do that. We have youth, high school, some hockey kids, some regular general athletes, and then we have regular people. So our staff trains here. USA Hockey, which is right next door, their staff trains here. So on any given day, our interns might be able to train SWAT officers, kids, regular people, and then Division I hockey players in their coaching day. So it's a pretty unique experience.
Absolutely. What it, you know, with being able to see all that internally, and then being able to go to conferences and go to, you know, speak at events and things around the world, you get the advantage of seeing it done a lot of different ways. You know, you get to see a lot of different, and get to talk shop and learn and those types of things. What are some of the biggest advantages to that constant interaction with different coaches?
Well, it's one of the best parts of my job, I have to say that for sure. But, you know, sometimes it can be a little, you get too many ideas, right? I try to be, and I've heard someone else on the show talk about just keeping it simple. And I keep it simple in my programs. But, you know, the kind of underlying thing I see with the successful coaches I talk to is they have, like you've talked about as well, principle-based programs. And they have a sound program that they stick to, whether it's the tier system or the metabolic circuit or, you know, conjugate training, whatever their system is that they've developed within those. So for me, sometimes, like I said, I get back and then I start analyzing the program too much, and then I'm like, all right, you just stick with what you know and keep it simple. And I almost say I kind of err on the side of keeping fundamentals almost too fundamental. But I mean, the thing that I've seen with the success with our athletes is they're really, really good at the fundamentals. Everything else falls into place.
Sure. You know, you mentioned earlier with the conferences and you know, and how you know, what I thought was really cool was you're talking about your journey and you know, getting out there initially. It wasn't the big national conference, and it wasn't the sports specific conference or the coaches conference. It was, you know, these local events that you probably volunteered your time initially, and it led to bigger things, you know, and then you go out and you use some of the conferences and clinics that you went to network, you know, being the guy that runs, you know, with a great team, of course, but being the guy that runs a lot of these clinics, you know, what recommendations would you have for a young coach that's going out to their first, second, third conference? You know, as far as trying to have the courage or what are some tactics that you've seen that have worked in creating a lasting network?
Well, you know, I think you've talked about it too, is kind of having the elevator speech ready to go, you know, be able to be concise and sum up what you want to talk about to someone, and have a little homework done. So be able to have a conversation starter, icebreaker, you know, whether it was, hey, Coach, I just read that article that you had published in NSCA Coach or the journal, you know, or congratulations on that bowl game that you guys just had. For me, too, I think it was a lot of, I thought that some of these coaches would never even respond to me or get back to me. So, you know, I was just this Vermont State Director and strength coach that I would reach out to somebody thinking, oh, man, and I remember Jason Localzo, who's at Boston College, and he's out in Washington now. You know, I thought, there's no way this guy is going to get back to me. And he was just one of the people that responded right away. He actually drove up from D.C. to come to a state clinic in Vermont. So, you know, sometimes if you don't ask, you're never going to know. And I think just being able to get out of your comfort zone and, you know, really kind of engage somebody is it's a lot easier to do than we think it is.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, I talked to our coaches. I actually just had this conversation with our interns the other day, but you know, when you have those opportunities to speak, it's not the time to tell your life story. It's that short, concise elevator pitch that we've talked about on the show several times. But the other part of that is to have a clear, concise course of action, so what's the next step? Is that a phone call follow-up? Is that a visit? Is that, when you have that short speech, you want to make sure that you reach out and that you open up the door for another action, whatever that may be. Can I send you my resume, or can I send you a program I'm working on that you can critique, or something along those lines? And that opens the door to developing a relationship. Too many people want to go from, nothing to instant, take 5 hours of my time, and it's hard to do when you're coaching 12, 13, 14 hours a day and you got a family.
Yeah, that's definitely an easy way to do it. And, that reminds me too, one of the first people that I met in the NSCA at the time was the education director, Mike Barnes. He'd been with the 49ers, done a lot of stuff. And, I met them at a clinic, and then I asked him if I could send him a rugby program, because he worked with Cal Rugby for a long time, and that was kind of the initial way that we were corresponding, Another cool thing that I did, and I've had the opportunity to do, is I did a mentorship with Martin Rooney in 2011, right before I came out to work here, and we did talk about training stuff, but a lot more of the things that we focused on were different goals, short-term goals and long-term goals, and they related to professional, and they related to personal, we talked about financial, right, and something you talked a lot about, saving money and how to put money into retirement, but we also talked about all these other X-factor things, and I do a thing like that with our interns now, where we call it really like a mentorship workbook, and we do some neat little exercises, whether it's writing, about what you envision your perfect day like, or writing your obituary on when you were 100 years old and you passed away, just to get them thinking about like what they want to do and where they want to go.
Sure. No, what a great idea. I heard you talk about, getting involved, as the NSCA State Director and some committees and things like that. And I can tell you, one of the very first things as a young coach that I wanted to do was, I felt like, I couldn't, at South Florida, we didn't have a budget to go to a lot of conferences. And so, the quickest way for me to make connections and to really make some lasting relationships was to host a conference myself. And so becoming the Florida State Director and just hosting clinics myself, that led to having, bringing some people in to speak and getting an opportunity to talk shop with them over the course of a weekend. And, and to some degree you're doing something for them, right? So that they feel a little bit indebted to you to help you along your way, And so it's such a great way. Talk a little bit about, being involved, and all the different opportunities that the NSCA has to kind of get involved with, to facilitate that networking.
Well, that was also one of the main reasons that I wanted to come work at the headquarters, is I felt, I'd been involved at this local level, and I knew that I was a member of the NSCA, but I didn't necessarily feel that there was as much value as there could be to the membership. And so coming to the headquarters for me has been an opportunity to improve what the NSCA does for strength coaches. And just in the last, year and a half, really, again, with my position evolving into really being kind of a bigger picture coaching program realm, we've rebranded the online journal, which is now NSCA Coach, trying to make it very more specific to strength and conditioning coaches, from high school to professional. The amount of content that we're putting up on the website, so articles. I've done kind of a print version, here of what you do with what we have the Coach's Corner. We've transitioned that into videos. So not only are we getting our conference videos up, but we've tried to pull aside coaches at every conference and interview them. The career stuff. So the career stuff is, I think, the biggest part where we're going to be able to set ourselves apart from competition and just provide more value to our members. Look, these are the people who have done it. And we're going to give you these career resources. We're going to give you guides. We're going to help you. We want people to be engaged with the NSCA from the time they get certified, like yourself, all the way throughout their career. And so again, a big thing that we've been talking about here at headquarters is value. How do we give more value to our members? And that, I've been here 4 years now. in the last 2 years, really, this is totally new. You know, we hadn't looked at these things before. We hadn't been talking in the terms that we're talking about. So I think it's really exciting time to be involved. We've got some really great people inside and our volunteers. Brian Mann just took over the college SIG president position. He's already been turned to with those guys, sending me like 6 articles this week, so he is on top of it. And so it's just great to have people that are getting out and getting after it. The webinars, again, that's a really good way to get CEUs for people that are super busy. With that new webinar system that we have, we were just cranking out webinars last year. I think we've got 60 or 70 on there now. We added like 30 something in 9 months. So, you know, again, for busy coaches, and it's affordable and an easy way to get your education.
Sure. You got, you know, the NSCA, and it's been evident, obviously, with the impact of the last couple of coaches conferences, and even going out to the national conferences last year, and just seeing the attendance going up and things along those lines. There's a lot of different initiatives right now. You know, you got the hands-on training coming to be a part of kind of the certification. You got some exam prep courses and some things along those lines. Talk about some of the things that are going on and what people should be looking for from the NSCA over the next year or so.
Yeah, again, you know, you kind of touched on it, and what it makes me think of, you know, that you said in your career article, and it's not to steal the thunder from one of the books I want to mention, but in Good to Great talks about having the right people and the right seats on the bus, you know. So I think here at the headquarters, things have really evolved. People in the right seats in the bus, and we didn't even maybe have some of the seats really defined on the bus. So, you know, you've got positions and people in those spots. So exam prep is one of them. We have someone who just does that. It's an exam prep manager, and again, we've developed a 3-day exam prep now that will focus on exercise science for, again, with this, you know, accreditation ruling and Division 1 coming up. We want to help as many people get certified as possible. So we have a ton of different exam preps. I think we have about 12 coming up between now and May. New format, new procedures, new qualifications, even to be a speaker at these things, to really help people prepare and focused on exercise science for coaches who may have been out of school or may not. You know, a lot of coaches may have gotten into this and didn't have exercise science as their
Yeah.
The other real big one is the one that we're probably most excited about is it's going to be an accredited certificate. So working very closely with our certification department to make sure that this thing is done well and it's done right. And so it wouldn't be something that you would have letters after your name. It's not a certification, but it'll be an accredited certificate, so it'll follow all the standards that accreditation requires for coaching basic exercise techniques. So again, we're not trying to be a lifting certificate we want to partner with USA Weightlifting. You want to learn how to do Olympic weightlifting? Go to USA Weightlifting. We're going to be better partners with groups like that. But we're going to offer, and we're going to have a solid coaching basic exercise technique certificate. And the idea, hopefully in 3 years, that this will be part of the CSCS. You would be required, if you got your CSCS, to also pass the coaching basic exercise technique. So really cool kind of evolution of the CSCS, if you will, and a path we need to go down.
Sure. Well, man, we always end these shows with some resources. Give us the best piece of coaching advice you've ever received.
Man, you know, probably it's pretty simple. The best coaching piece would be from a buddy of mine, and he said, we like problem solvers, not problem pointer-outers.
I like that. What about, give us a favorite quote that you either live by or you use with your athletes?
Well, you know, we have one in my office here, and it was hanging in Boyd's office. It says, the great ones adjust. And I can't really remember the full story, but he was a track athlete, and there was some meet that he was competing in back in the day. You know, he was complaining to the coach, oh, this is too short or too long, or the wind's blowing too long, and the guy just said to him, the great ones adjust. that one stuck with him forever, and it's hanging right up on the wall here behind me. The other one that I really like, and I tell our interns a lot, is don't give up what you want most for what you want now. And it's just easy, especially in this day and age and technology the way it is. So I think you need to, think about what you really want and don't let yourself get distracted from that.
No, that's great, man. What about maybe a book inside strength and conditioning and outside of strength and conditioning?
Yeah, so inside the strength and conditioning world, the one I most recently have been digging into is high performance training for sports. Llewellyn and Joyce there. That's been really neat one. A lot of contributors to that, which I like. We got a lot of different coaching aspects and techniques in one book, which is cool.
Yeah. What about outside of strength and conditioning?
Outside of, it's still inside and outside. I just read Jeff Connor's book, Strength Coach, A Call to Serve, and that covers everything, life and football and strength and conditioning. And like I kind of alluded to a couple of times, I've been digging back into Good to Great, which granted is a business book, but there's just so many things that I can take from that and that go into the world, especially that I'm in right now. I feel in my company, my organization, but also in training too, in our coaching area.
What about a website that you generally check out?
I go to Elite FTS a lot. I really like what Mark's doing over there, and I've been looking at that website all throughout my coaching journey. I've written a few articles for them. I like them a lot. I've been digging into the ASCA, the Australian Strength and Conditioning Association, a lot. I'm a member of that as well, and digging into their journals. They have some really great journals. A lot of their journals really do have a ton of good application stuff.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that 100%. What about, is there any apps that you use for your own productivity or something that you use with your athletes?
We've been playing around with a lot of stuff here. We've been trying to use Coach Me Plus a little bit, and we've been digging into some push strength, some stuff with the push band and the push app. My assistants are kind of running that one a little bit more. I've been dealing with Coach Me Plus a little bit more.
What was the one you said after Coach Me Plus?
It's called Push.
Okay.
It's like a band that on the arm, and so we've been digging into that a little bit. Trying to check that out. I've also been using Joel Jameson's BioForce HRV, so we've been using that with a few of the hockey guys recently, and just to kind of get a little more monitoring involved.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, man, this has been great, brother. And like I said at the onset, I mean, it's the amount of work that you've put in over the course of those 4 years has been definitely noticed and well appreciated by the community. And you're doing a great job, man. Keep up the great work with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just want to, again, make this, if people have been away from the NSCA, I think that I want to make it a place where they want to check back out again and see that there is a lot of value to being a member and that we need more great coaches involved.
Well, we'll go with, I say this quite a bit when I speak, but, ultimately it's a membership-driven organization, just like with any of these memberships or organizations. And for us to get the most out of it, we got to put the most in. And so, all the strength coaches that are listening, we need contributors to the journal. We need contributors to research. We need speakers. We need, people to get out and mentor young coaches and all those types of things. And so there's an obligation for all of us to be involved some way or another. And it doesn't have to be. Maybe you don't like getting up in front of 500 people, but, then go write an article or something. But everybody needs to find their niche to be involved with any organization that they're a part of.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think again, like I talked about my position, I'm the liaison. I'm the person. If you have an idea or a thought, give me a shout. Come up to me at a conference and talk. I love to talk shop. I go to CSCCA every year because it's a great chance for me to just hang out and network and not have to work so hard like I do at ours. So,
That's right.
So I look forward to seeing all my friends and getting together. But I welcome people to contact me anytime that have ideas or thoughts or anything we can do to provide more value to our members.
Well, that's great, man. We'll make sure to link up all your information for everybody. But appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Thanks, Coach.
See you, man.
That's it for this episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk. Thanks to this week's guest as well as our sponsors for bringing this episode to you for free. Make sure to check out ronmckeefery.com where you can join our mailing list, find the show notes, including all the links and resources mentioned, and information about Coach McKeefery's other products. While you are there, please join Coach McKeefery in the comments section thanking our guest for sharing. If you haven't subscribed to Iron Game Chalk Talk on YouTube or iTunes yet, make sure to do so. Comments, ratings, and reviews are always welcome. Coach McKeefery can be found on Twitter at @RMcKeefery, on Facebook and YouTube at /Ron.McKeefery. That's it for this week. Be sure to check back next week for another great episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk.